I'm going to argue that leaving the EU is going to give us, okay, EU regulations now cost us as Britain £100 billion a year. How is that exactly going to help us as an economical state when we've just had recession? So giving £100 billion a year each year to the EU is not exactly going to help us. We also think that by giving away all this money, including bailing out different countries, we can use all that money that we're using on our countries, on our economics instead, like improving schools, improving facilities, improving stuff within Britain for a better Britain, basically. So leaving the EU will not only improve our democracy, but it will also improve how British citizens act. If we have a better environment within Britain, I would think that how, like gun crime in general, and all these bad things that are within Britain would go down, because we have better policing, so we have a safer environment. We'll have better education. Thank you. Better education.
Information.
Okay.
With what you said with £100 billion, as I stated in my speech, that only 0.6% of the GDP of Britain's GDP actually goes into the EU. That's compared with the 8.3% of our deficit. I would like to hear an answer from that. As I said in my first speech, that 0.6% of the Britain's GDP actually goes into the EU. That's minuscule. That's less than 1%. I don't think that's that would have such a negative effect on us, considering how much they give to us as well.
And what exactly do they give to us? Exactly. So, as I was saying, having more money in our economy will in fact help us, because let's say, for example, our college, we would have better books to read, we'll have more information books upon our subjects. If we gave all this, instead of giving all this money away, we'll have more money within the economy. So having this as part of our economy will actually increase our GDP, because we'll have more doctors to one person, we'll have more educators to one person, therefore making a better Britain, basically, in advance. Tom was saying that how... Okay.
Do you not believe we will have more doctors, more lawyers, if we stay in the EU and allow people from the EU to come in with their skills and work here?
No, because if we put more doctors within our country from different countries, isn't there sort of like a language barrier? Because they then have to learn English. They'll then have to understand that we have different rules from the EU depending on our environment. So how is that exactly going to help us? Yeah, anyways. So if we have more money in our economy, we have more of a chance to be a more better Britain, a more economically good Britain, a more Britain that would be able to understand what our citizens need. And as I was saying, Tom said that how people in the past voted to stay in the EU, but times have changed, people have changed, views and the way people think about the EU have also changed. So why not stick with how Britain is changing now than think they're sticking with how they thought in the past? And you said something about how us with China and how China can't trade. Wait, you said something about China, I can't remember exactly what you said. But the thing is, right, I read that how we are the 22nd place that Chinese tourists come on vacation. So for that, because they would have to take 2 visas, one to go into the EU and then one to go back into Britain. If we left the EU, we would have more tourists going within our country, therefore more money.
Sorry. Sorry.
Oh, okay. And then also the fact that how we have 50% of our trade with the EU. If we stick with the EU trade regulations, then that exactly wouldn't affect us at all. And also that how being in the EU actually stops us from trading with non-EU countries such as China. So then if we left the EU, more trade would be within our economy, more jobs would be allowed within Britain because we would have more resources in Britain. So therefore, if we left the EU, in fact, this will actually better our Britain than actually staying in the EU instead. And thank you.